Hello beautiful people, welcome back to the channel. Pots and Petals here, everything garden and allotment related. We've been treated to an absolutely beautiful morning. The sun is shining, the skies are blue and the air seems to be really still. Now I must admit it is quite nippy down here. I mean, we've already got some dragon's breath going. So yeah, I'm going to warm myself up in a minute with a bit of coffee, but I'm hoping that today we're going to be able to get quite a few jobs done, given that it's not tipping it down. So we've got loads of bulbs that we need to get planted up, so I'll show you what I'm going to be doing with some of those. We've also got the garlic. It really must go in now. We want to get that in a few weeks before we start getting proper ground frosts. And as always, this time of year, we have got plenty of beds to be weeding. So they're the main three things that I'd like to try and get through today. I'm sure there'll be some other little bits and bobs, but like I say, we need to warm ourselves up first before we start cracking on with any of these jobs. So come on, cup of coffee, and then we'll get cracking. I always find that after a storm and we get a beautiful day, all the birds really do come out to sing. So just listen. That's a little robin redbreast, I think. You sing beautiful. Right, let's crack on, guys. So if you remember from yesterday's video, this is the garlic bed, and we've already planted one row out. We planted those in September. I'm going to plant some now in October, November, and again in December. October is my preferred month, so I am going to turn over a couple of other beds to some garlic as well, but I just want to give this a real good weed over. So we planted one row out in September, but today I'm going to plant out 3 rows. So we'll do one row next to the garlic that are already in the ground, and then I'm going to do 2 more rows at the other end, just because October is my favourite month to get the garlic out, and I'm probably going to put a couple of more beds over to some garlic as well. So I totally forgot that I'd ordered some garlic online, so they've arrived in the post, and they're Messidrome and Rose White. So we'll get some of those into the ground as well today, but because this is a little experiment in this bed, I am just going to plant the same variety as the ones that we've already got out next to those ones. Now the soil is a little bit too wet for my liking, however I really do need to get these in the ground, so I don't think I'm going to give these a water. So you want your rows to be 30 centimetres, 12 inches apart, and then your bulbs want to be 4 to 6 inches apart. You can use a little dibber just to make it a little bit easier and just to make sure that you don't damage that basil root. If you find that you've got really heavy clay soil, you could try these off starting in little pots, or just don't bury them too deep in that soil. When pulling apart the bulbs of your garlic, do go careful because some of them might be a little bit squidgy and might have something wrong with them. So do check them, and if they feel a little bit soft at all, I wouldn't even bother planting them. You might find that you have different sized bulbs, but do plant them all because I've seen some of these smaller bulbs turn into rather large garlic plants in the past. Now I was going to plant some garlic in here, but I can see that the alliums have gone a little bit funny. Now that could be because of allium leaf miner, I'm not too sure, so I'm not going to risk it, but I am going to give it a weed whilst I'm down here. I haven't eaten any of this yet, but I just think the colours, that beautiful red vein and that lime green leaf is just beautiful. I know this can be a bit of a thug, so I think I'm going to harvest some of these and take them home. I've kept these three little guys. They don't seem to have gone funny on me, but the rest were really starting to curl. I think I might have sown them a little bit too close, but these seem to be absolutely fine, so we'll let them grow over winter. And then just down there we've got a volunteer parsnip, so we'll leave that to grow as well. You can't have enough parsnips. So that's all looking a lot neater and tidier. So we managed to get 4 rows of garlic in here in the end. I haven't planted anything in there yet, but I have tidied that up. And now the next bed to focus on is that bed there. And we're going to plant up a couple of rows of garlic in there as well. Voila, and there we go. So we're going to have 3 rows of garlic in here, and we're going to use rose white. That's W-I-G-H-T. I think it's got something to do with the Isle of Wight, I'm pretty sure. So you want to be planting them in this way up, so the little tassel at the top is poking above, and then you've got the basil plate at the bottom, and that's where the roots will form. So that way up. We might not have enough of the rose white to fill this bed, so we will have some of the mesodorm if we do need to fill it up a bit more. So that's the garlic in the ground, and then over in these 3 beds we've got onions, which we planted out about a month ago. Now that this is all planted up, I haven't got to think about this bed until summer next year, probably about June. Other than keeping up on the weeding, it's not going to be too much hassle. So if you start thinking about next year, this bed will be free come June, July time, so that'll be the perfect time to start planting out the squash. As a gardener, you've always got to be planning ahead, guys. I've still got loads of spring bulbs to plant out, but today we're going to plant out all of the tulips. So these 3 are going into the planter up at the top of my plot near the main grass path. I've picked these because they're the most flashiest and loads of people are going to walk past these. So I've gone with some quite clashy colours. We've gone with some oranges, but also some deep pinks and purples. We've also got 3 different types of shapes. So we've got the black parrot, and this has got a certain virus that makes the petals go this beautiful feathered way. You can see that it blends from that fuchsia pink into a deeper, darker purple. And then in the middle we've got Mavota, which has got the classic tulip shape, but it's got the orange and the deep purple, so it's got both colours from the other 2 tulips. Both the black parrot and the Mavota are similar heights, so these will go towards the back of the planter, and the orange princess is only 12 inches, but this is a peony type tulip, and it's got all these beautiful blooms in the middle. So all we're going to do is just give this a little bit of a weed and then pop the tulips in, and we want to cover these up by a good 4 or 5 inches. Now if you do have lots of squirrels, rats, mice, they do like to dig these up, but they don't tend to eat them around here. It's just a bit of a pain. So you could use some wire mesh just to place over the top until they start to get going. We'll just firm these bulbs in and then top it up with some nice new compost. And then just to make it a little bit prettier for now, we'll plant the top up with a couple of other winter plants. There we go, pretty little planter for over winter, and then in spring that'll just be popping full of colour and hopefully blending quite nicely with all of this. And like I say, it's going to be the first thing people see when they get to the plot, and first impressions matter, right? Down here we've got the rest of the tulips now, so if you want to see all of the spring bulbs that I bought this year, you'll have to go back a couple of videos where I go into a little bit more detail. But yeah, these are the rest of the tulips, and we've also got some alliums, the Schubertii, so I want to dry these out, and they don't grow too big, so I thought if I pop them in this bed I can keep a closer eye on them. So I've already given this bed a real good weed over, and I'm going to use a dibber this time, and I'm just going to make holes 4 to 5 inches deep. They say you should plant a bulb twice its height in depth, but tulips do like to be planted a little bit deeper. Now to try and naturalise these, I'm going to just throw them in and see where they land, and that's where I'm going to start dibbing the holes. I'm just going to use some of the wire mesh that you get from one of those plastic stands for a poly house, and that should just cover these up absolutely perfectly. One thing I do like to keep on top of, especially in the autumn and the winter time, is feeding the little birdies, but I'm actually running out of some mix here, so we're going to top it up with these 4 ingredients. So we've got some suet pellets, which is full of fat, and that's exactly what the birdies are looking for at this time of year. We've also got some black sunflower seeds, some sunflower hearts, and also some dried mealworms. So we'll just fill up this bird feeder tub, and then we can go and fill up some of the bird feeders from around the plot. I keep meaning to take these little squash home, so these really must come in the boot of my car today. Same with these little chaps down here, I need to take these guys home, and I really must make some soup and a pie. And these little fellas, I keep forgetting these, so I must pick these off today. I'll do that now, whilst it's in front of me, and take these home. These are Scotch bonnet, I believe. I don't know what I'm going to use them in, because they're quite spicy. I've only picked these off the plant, and you can actually smell the Caspian, coming off them. So these are going to be really, really hot. There we go, proof they're in the back of the car and coming home with me finally. The rhubarb is slowly dying back, and once it has died back properly, we can give this a real good weed in here, and also a really nice mulch, because they are very hungry plants and they don't like competition. I think some of these beetroot are certainly ready to come up. Just look at the size of that. I'm not going to pick these today, but I'll certainly pick them out next weekend. So that's all we've got time for today, folks. I feel like we're slowly getting there with the autumn tidy up. So we've got the garlic in. I know we've still got a couple of more rows to do in November and December, but the bulk of the garlic are in. And I am really hoping for a better harvest than I had this year. We've also got all of the tulip bulbs out. I thought that was going to take forever, but that was quite a quick job today. We've still got quite a few alliums to plant out, but they're going to go out into the main beds. But I do need to give that a real good weed and an autumn clear up before we start planting those. A few of the beds are starting to look a lot cleaner and tidier now, and I really need to start sowing some green manure so that they're not empty all over winter. And let's not forget we managed to feed the birds as well today. So yeah, it's been a really productive weekend. I feel like it's probably been a little bit time-lapse heavy today, but yeah, we've managed to get quite a few jobs done down here. So that's all from me for this weekend, but I'll be back down here again next weekend with another little adventure from down on the plot. But in the meantime, guys, I hope you have a lovely week ahead of you, and don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, all of that good stuff, and I'll see you all very soon. So take care, guys. See you later. Bye bye.